Thank you, Dr. Madhu, for a nice introduction. I'll be talking on the role of teleophthalmology and technology for quality, cost-effective glaucoma care. The world is changing. Now we are becoming more and more virtual. So telemedicine is a delivery of healthcare services by all healthcare professionals using information and communication technologies. This is for the exchange of valid information for diagnosis, treatment, and prevention of diseases and injuries. And most important is that it is helpful where distance is a critical factor. So it has a very promising future for glaucoma management. It's a next frontier in healthcare and a new field with great promise. It has gained widespread acceptance in remotely screening for diabetic retinopathy, but same can be applied for glaucoma patients who require long-term and frequent assessment. So it is still in initial stages as a screening tool, but there are certain papers and I would like to talk about these. So the advantages are, we all know that 50% of people are still undiagnosed. We have an aging population. So teleglaucoma can be a way to improve access to the care, screening and disease detection, diagnostic consultation, and long distance disease monitoring also can be done. Even some amount of medical management also is possible. So there are three teleglaucoma models. What is a traditional model, where a teleglaucoma program can purchase all the equipment and provide trained personnel to a remote site, but this is the most expensive and most commonly implemented only in diabetic retinopathy, where only very few equipments are needed. Collaborative is a partnership with providers with access to different types of equipment, like glaucoma experts, and who can have patient access. So this increases the financial feasibility also, and maybe you can have in-house also, where the provider utilizes equipment and staff in their own clinic to deliver this daily glaucoma care. So application would be in glaucoma screening to screen high-risk individuals and assist ophthalmologists in diagnosing glaucoma. And after the screening, they can be evaluated with the help of telemedicine and referred for in-person care. So it can be also not for only for screening, for glaucoma management, for frequent monitoring of glaucoma progression in existing glaucoma patients. So it can potentially improve the efficacy of glaucoma follow-up and streamline patients' follow-up experience and shorten the visit time also. So screening, as we know, we have to have questionnaire for patient symptoms and common tests like examination of fundus images, whatever we have discussed till now, like visual field, perimetry, IOP, visual acuity, slit lamp examination, corneal thickness, if OCT, if it is possible, pentacam, and also definitely refractive status. So this is a Mayo Clinic glaucoma progression chart. So here they have divided patients in three parts. Green zone is, there is some glaucoma suspect, dissuspect patients, but there is no perimetry defect, may have some abnormal SWAP or FDT or OCT. So these patients can be seen by an optometrist every 6 months and every 3 years by a glaucoma consultant. So moderate would be definite abnormal on cupping, automated visual field test is there, but not within 5 degrees of fixation, and RNFL or GCC analysis is abnormal. So these can be seen every 4 to 6 months by an optometrist and every 2 years by a specialist. But definitely a severe or advanced field which have glaucoma should be seen by an optometrist every 3 to 4 months and maybe by a specialist every year if their IOP and other things are totally stable. So cost effectiveness will come to this. So this is mainly time cost and money cost also. So it was more cost effective as in person for screening and also less time consuming than in-person visits. So it was decided that in the few studies which I have mentioned here, so it was almost effective by almost 3 to 3.5 times. So for this Markov probability analysis has demonstrated that in this 30-year overall risk of glaucoma development and the risk of developing moderate glaucoma was same as in teleglaucoma and as in IPC, that is in-person care, but the glaucoma related blindness after 30 years was definitely preventable, and 24% cases were definitely prevented with the help of teleglaucoma. So duration between referrals and tests were also better with teleglaucoma. The days, if you consider, they are really less, and even consultation time with the help of teleglaucoma and even the waiting time was less. with teleglaucoma as compared to in-person consultation. Overall, patient satisfaction was very good, and the mean satisfaction score for the model and quality of teleglaucoma was really good. There was positive responses were there for convenient screening location. Patients were likely to return to the same location for future visits, and many wanted to refer this program to their other relatives or friends. So coming to agreement between teleglaucoma and in-person care. So comprehensive ophthalmologist and between glaucoma specialists. So it was found that the agreement was moderate for vertical CD and slit lamp examination. It was fair for focal glaucoma damage like notching, peripapillary atrophy, and disc hemorrhage, but definitely substantial if FDT was concerned in patient of glaucomatous. Already they have disc damage, so it was very good. So moderate agreement was there between face-to-face and virtual clinic for management, and moderate level of agreement for management was there for in another study. So for specificity and sensitivity for screening, teleglaucoma had a spare at around 80%. It was not very good, but still you can definitely screen patients with this, and specificity and sensitivity for management was fair, but the sensitivity was questionable, but specificity was fair. So current use and opportunities for teleglaucoma, it is still at initial stage and not yet widely accepted as standard for glaucoma management, but can be used for screening for glaucoma in the targeted patients with first degree relatives, for identifying individuals with high risk glaucoma, and for identifying individuals in a group of patients where the glaucoma is prevalent but undiagnosed. So it can be used to reduce the demand for glaucoma appointments, and definitely can be used as a screening tool and follow for some patients. The challenges are the information is highly variable because this has been collected by healthcare workers and optometrists. So diagnosis by glaucoma specialist is entirely dependent on this, whatever information they get. The another issue is connectivity of these telecommunication devices. Dr. Sagarika already told us. Storage of data is very difficult because you have to transfer this data to the main center and store there. And the most important is the high cost of glaucoma imaging equipment, and it cannot be taken anywhere in the van or something. So this is a challenging situation for us. So how we use this teleglaucoma consultation in our COVID times? We wanted to avoid contact, and in India, the summary guidelines were updated in 2020 April. So this was really good. So what we did is we triaged our patients before their visit by teleconferencing or video conferencing following this Manchester triage system. And we could make out that patients can send good photographs of their ailments. And you can see that this patient might be having a buphthalmos. This is a actually operated patient, 8 years old, but the redness is not related to the bleb. So all these patients, we could tell them on the phone whether they can come to the clinic or can come to the nearby ophthalmologist. So all these tests, vision tests, perimetry tests are very well available on their mobile phones. And in COVID lockdown, for outstation patients, we were able to triage them, guide these patients to nearest ophthalmologist. Yeah, I'll take just 1 minute and collect relevant data and able to call patients who needed emergency intervention. Prescriptions are possible. Safe drugs can be prescribed, and there are list A and list B where you can have refill or represcriptions. Virtual clinic, I just want to say that there is a synchronous model and asynchronous model. So synchronous is where patient and clinician interact in real time, and asynchronous, they interact at a different course. So we also tried this asynchronous model. So glaucoma has a potential for remote assessment. We already compile all clinical data before seeing the patient, and this can be advanced, and a new clinical interface can be found out of necessity. So this is a teleglaucoma flowchart, how a clinic can work, where the optometrist will help and where the ophthalmologist can help. The take-home message is, it is a chronic, slow progressive disease, and we need to find out, screen these patients before they go into irreversible blindness. So it may allow us to meet the growing demand of glaucoma care. Screening and management of already existing glaucoma patients is possible. It has a higher cost effectiveness because for patient because there is a reduced need for long distance travel, and we can better utilize the resources. Better access to the care for remote communities is possible, and we can offer potential for higher efficiency and efficacy. Patient satisfaction is also good for in-person care and other things. So thank you for patient understanding. So we can move over to next talk.